Hey, welcome to episode 1 of the Homebrew Devlog. So, this is going to be the actual official first episode since, the last one was just an introduction. So, we're going to be mixing things up a bit. For one, I'm not going to be talking the whole time. And, we're going to be introducing basically how we're going to be doing the art assets as well as the 3D modeling. Now, I don't really know much about the whole 3D aspect of things, so I think it's best if I actually let Emil, take over and perhaps he can give some insight of how he actually did some of the 3D modeling. So, I'll go ahead and turn it over to him.
Hello everyone, my name is Emil and I'm the graphical artist at Homebrew Interactive. That means that I'm the one that is in charge of doing everything from concept art, 3D modeling and animation for the game NIMRODS. And today I'm going to be taking you through the process of creating our main character for the game, which is this girl right here. Now, because I'm tend to be very forgetful, I forgot to record the process itself, so this video is not going to be a time lapse of the creation process, but more me showing you the different stages of how she came to be. And for this case, I've made a small little scene inside of Blender in which I set up the different stages for you to see. So we have concept art, modeling, texturing, rigging, and then I added custom animation controls, which is going to help me when I go to creating the animations for the character itself. Now, Blender, which you see, is the 3D software that we use here at Homebrew. It is very great because it's a free open source program, so it's very good for creating 3D assets and animation for small studios like us that are on a very small budget. So first off, when it comes to the creation process of a character, you would start with creating what we call concept art, and this is done so we have a clear understanding of what the character is going to look like when finished. The creation of the character concept is an iterative process and can take a lot of time to get the final look that you want. So it was a lot of do and redo to get what we wanted exactly for this game. But what you see here is the final design of our character in full color. Now, after you create the concept that you are happy with, before starting on the 3D modeling process for the character, it is very helpful to create what is called a turnaround sheet, which you see here. And it's basically the character laid out from the different sides. So we have front view, we have side view, and we have a back view. In this way we will be able to create references inside of Blender to set up so we know exactly what the character will be looking like from every side. And that makes the whole modeling process way easier than if you were just doing it freehand. Now, after the turnaround sheet was done, I could get started on the modeling process. Now, I would do this by inserting a reference image into the scene, kind of like you see here with this one, and then match it up with the front, the side, and the back view of the character, so that I could every time I could see, does it match up or not, and that way it's way easier to create the whole character. So it was just a question of adding a small cube and start modeling, really adding loop cuts and moving the vertices and such. Now, the whole process of creating a character, I'm not going to be going through exactly how this was done because it's going to be taking a lot of time, but what you see here is the final character model. Look what she's looking like in her very fine T-pose without textures. Yeah. Now, the face was very tricky for me since I've not done a lot of characters before, so it was a long process for me to do, but I'm really happy with the result I ended up with. And there's a lot of great videos out there that can help you with learning how to do this if you want to give it a shot yourself. Now after the model is finished, you can go on to texturing. This process is also a very fun process because it's where it really gives life to the character and it starts to look like what the final version is going to be. The very first step in texturing is taking the character and unwrapping the character inside Blender here. So I would okay, now this isn't working though. Let's see, let's take this character. Okay, so if we go into UV editing, yeah, here, and select the whole character and press edit mode, we can see how the character is looking unwrapped onto a 2D plane, which is what is used to create the texture map. This is it can be a very hard process if you're a beginner, but it's basically just marking edges on the model. You can see the reds here as seams, and the program itself will know that it has to cut up the character here and lay it out flat onto a 2D plane, as you see here. And because I used what is called a mirror modifier on most of this character, so that I only had to work on one side, I can also save a lot of texture space. As you can see, for example, the head here, that's only half of the head, but because it's a mirrored model, the texture that is applied to this side of the head will also be applied to this side of the head. After you finish the final unwrapping and reorder everything so it looks very nice, you can get on to painting the textures on. Now this can be done inside programs like Photoshop and other drawing programs, Krita for example, or something like that. But for this process I chose to just do it inside of Blender, as it's very easy to do actually. So, oh, that's the wrong one. Let's take this one. So when you have your UV unwrapped here, it's just a matter of going in and filling out the colors here. Now I don't know why it doesn't show here, but basically I would select, for example, the whole shirt, which you see here in the pinkish color, and then I would just basically fill it out with the green color for her shirt, and then after I would go in with a smaller brush and add the details, also like you see on the face here. So it's actually, for this style of character, it's a very easy and quick process to do, since it doesn't require a lot of details for the character itself. But yeah, this is what she ended up looking like for the final texturing part of the character, which you can see is the goal that we were going for the concept art. Now after creating the texture and everything, the model was finished and final, and then I could get on to rigging the character for animation. Now the rigging process for a character is done by creating bones, much like we have in ourselves, like you would have the shin and the thigh and stuff, and you would match those up to create a skeleton for the character, which you would then connect to the mesh itself, so that when you move the bones, it will move with it. So like you see here. Now this is called an IK chain, which makes it very easy for the animator. At least for me, I like working with IK change, where I only have to move one bone in order to move the entire leg, basically. And that way it's very easy to make the poses that you want. So what I grabbed here is the knee controller that decides whether or not where the knee points towards. So yeah, it was basically just adding bones for every part of her body. So you had the arms and the fingers and the hand and the knee and the scarf and the hair and the head and also eyes and stuff. So we have a controller here that moves the eyes around in her head, and I have a bone here which moves her eyebrows and such. Yeah, so after this was done, the character pretty much was finished and ready to animate. But to make it more easy for myself later on for animation, I also decided to make an extra step for the character creation here, which is custom animation controllers, which you often see on character models for animation films, games and stuff. And it's only showing the bones that I actually need to be posing. So this one down here is like the root bone that you can move the entire character with, and then you have the hip, which you can move the character up and down with, and you have the upper body movement here. You have the hand, you have the foot, the knee, the foot roll, you have the head tilt, which also works as a squash and stretch here to give a cartoony effect to the character in the animations as well. And while this is also to make it way easier for myself when it comes to animating, it's also making it very clear what the different controllers do, and I don't have to look at all the excess bones, if you will. Like, I don't have to look at the bones inside the character here. That is not necessary for me to see. So yeah, this is basically the creation process for our character for the game. Yep.
Okay, so that's all we can really show for this moment in time, but don't worry, we got a lot more things coming real soon. And hopefully this episode was a bit more exciting, so as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we tend to actually follow up mostly on Twitter, so go ahead and give us a follow there if you want to get the latest updates on what we've got going on at Homebrew Interactive. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
That's good.